Welcome back. Today we're going to do a stir fry with potatoes. And although potatoes are not native to China, they actually came to China by way of the Americas when the European settlers or explorers went to the New World, brought potatoes back to Europe, to Ireland and England, and the explorers went, and they went from Europe via the Silk Road to Asia, and so potatoes found their way to China, which of course the Chinese will eat pretty much anything, so they made it into stir fry. So let's get started. We're going to have some interesting ingredients. The Szechuan part is going to be with the Szechuan Peppercorns, and you can buy these whole at the Asian market. Now if you get them like this, they last a long time. You can get them ground up. The problem with that is that you don't always know what's been ground up with them, and they tend to lose a little bit of their flavor. And by the way, they're not peppercorns. They are actually, the seed pods are something called a prickly ash, and they're not spicy. They are, they actually kind of create a numbing sensation on your tongue. So, Szechuan peppercorns. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a couple ways to work with these. If you don't want to kind of sort them out and grind them up, you can put them into a heat-proof container, like a fry pan or something like that, and you can heat them up with oil, and then the flavor will go into the oil, and then you can use that for cooking. You can also put them into a microwave-proof container like I have with this spoon, but you could use, a cruet or something like that, and just put them in there, put them in the oil, and then microwave them for a minute or so, and that will heat that oil up really hot, and the flavor will go into the oil. You can use that for cooking. You can also, if you have time, you can separate them out, and for what you don't want is you don't want any of the peppercorns with these little black hard seed pods, these seeds. They don't have any flavor, and if you grind them up, they're like sand. So what you want is you want something like this one here, which is an empty pod, and it's that husk that has the flavor. So if you want, you can take these husks and put them into a grinder, and you can see this is not a very time efficient way of doing things. So, but since I've done a lot of this already, I've got that. So I've got some of these peppercorns, and I can just grind them up just like that. You don't need much, and they'll just grind up, and you can put those right into your dish, which we'll do in a little while. What I'll do is I'll demonstrate the microwave one. And what I've got is about a tablespoon of oil in here, and I put some peppercorns in there. And I'm just going to put these in here. And we'll just put them in there for a minute or so, and we don't have to worry about those. So while that's happening, let's talk a little bit about our ingredients. Potatoes, of course, and you can use sweet potatoes or regular, this I think is a russet potato, and you can peel them or not, as you wish. And I like to include the peel on the russet potatoes, And I've got something here called a julienne a julienne peeler. And all I'll do is I can just drag that right across. And what the julienne peeler does is it peels the potato. So if I didn't want to use the skin, I could just run that over the surface of the potato. And if I wanted to, I could discard that, but I'm going to use the skin on this one. And we'll just julienne these guys, just like that. I've done some in advance. There we go. And we'll do the same thing with our sweet potatoes. There we go. And we'll just make some julienne strips. In the meantime, what I've done is I've already heated up my my wok. So when you stir fry, you want to have the hot wok and cool oil, not cold oil, but oil that's been kind of out at room temperature. And we like to use avocado oil because that can get really hot before it starts to smoke. But we do want it to just barely start to smoke for that hot stir frying. So we've got our potato. We're going to use some carrot as well in this one. So we'll just julienne this carrot up. I think that's good. And by hand, I'm going to julienne up some spicy peppers. And these are jalapeno peppers. They're not quite as hot as Szechuan peppers. So when you cut this open, you just discard the seeds. They don't really have any flavor, and contrary to popular belief, the seeds are not hot. They are actually the least hot part of the pepper. The hottest part of the pepper is actually this lining. So if you want really hot peppers, use that lining. And then I'll just julienne this up as well. I've got some green jalapenos there as well. I'll make these big enough so if someone doesn't want to eat them, they can pick them out. All right. And we'll have our flavoring, which will be our crushed garlic. Just kind of smash those. Do that lightly just to peel it. There we go. And smash that. And then we'll just mince these up. I like to do this because it gives me the flavor, but also I like to munch on a little garlic. It's been stir fried. There. I'm going to put this right on the plate, so we'll have that ready. And although the recipe in my cookbook doesn't have this, I'm going to be putting in a little bit of chicken into hot, not spicy, but hot oil. And I like to use chicken thighs, and I always cut it across the grain, just like that, into this julienne size or 1/8 inch size thick pieces across the grain, keep it tender. What's nice about the chicken thighs is they have a significant amount of fat, so they stay pretty moist in the stir frying. So let me just wash this off. We've got almost all our vegetables cut. The only vegetable I haven't cut is the some scallions. So let's
more interruption.
Uh-oh. Not sure what's going on. We'll try to clean up the video when we post it. So let's do some prep here on the chicken. So I'm going to do a little velveting of this chicken. I'm going to put that into a bag. I'm going to put in a tablespoon of cornstarch to coat it. There we go. Just shake that. And some flavoring. So we've got a little bit of 5-spice powder. The key ingredient in the 5-spice powder is anise, star anise, but it also has cinnamon can be in it, some garlic, and some 5-spice powder. There we go. And let's put in some Szechuan Peppercorns. There we go. A little bit of vinegar, not too much. We'll add some more vinegar into the sauce later. Here's some soy sauce. And some wine. There. Okay. Smells great. So you've got just about everything ready here. Remember, you want to have everything ready before you get things into the heat. So these are actually some onion greens from our Egyptian walking onions from the garden. And pretty soon we'll have some garlic scapes that we'll be able to use in stir fry, which will be great fun. And these will be right at the end. Okay, here we go. We are ready to cook. So this is hot. Turn that heat up a little bit. I'd like to use avocado oil. Put about a tablespoon of that in. And that starts to smoke right away, which is great. It's nice and hot. So let's put in, our potatoes will take the longest to cook. So we'll slide those in first together. There we go, and that should sizzle right away. Nice. And along with that, we're going to add our garlic. Great flavor. And we're going to stir fry these for about a minute. They start to brown up pretty quickly. What's great about a cast iron wok, it really holds on to that heat. That sizzling sound is what you want to maintain. There we go. All right, they've started to brown up a little bit. Kind of smell like hash browns with garlic. So let's put in our carrots. I want them to soften up a little. Carrots have a little bit moisture, a little bit more moisture. Oop. Okay, so we want to get that oil just to kind of just touch those carrots. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to make a little space in the center. That's the hottest part of the wok. And here's our chicken. Now remember, our chicken is at room temperature. You don't want this to be really cold, because what's going to happen is there's a significant amount of liquid, and it's going to cool down the wok. But we hear that sizzling. We want to make sure that that sizzling gets maintained. I'm going to push that chicken right down in. All right. And then we'll start moving that around. That nice sizzling sound is what we want. That's getting pretty hot on my hands. There we go. Okay, so the vegetables are nicely caramelizing. They're browned up. So we're going to add this is the Szechuan part, in addition to the peppercorns, our hot peppers. And I don't put those peppers in first because I don't want them to smoke. If they develop some smoke, what will happen is they will release pepper gas, capsaicin, and it will make it hard to kind of stand over this and breathe. So that chicken is just about done. Potatoes are definitely cooked. So let's put in a little bit of flavoring here. I've got some sesame oil. If you want this to be really hot, you could use spicy sesame oil. But I'm just going to use like a teaspoon of regular toasted sesame oil. You don't try to stir fry with the sesame oil. There we go. And let's put in our scallions. And we can kill the heat. We are done cooking. Nice loud sizzling is what you want. All right, remember I had heated up some of that peppercorns with the oil. I'm not going to put the peppercorns in because, remember, they might be a little crunchy, but they'll be drizzle some of that flavored oil right in. All right, let's take that off. There we go. A little sizzling there. Got our rice. Try this. Smells good. Let's try some potato here. Tongue is numb. It's also spicy, so it's kind of an interesting combination. Tongue is numb, throat is spicy. So there you have it. Stir-fried Szechuan potatoes with veggies and chicken. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.